Welcome back, everybody. We're continuing on with our wonderful, fun series. At least I think it's wonderful and fun, The Love of Acting, with a wonderful and fun actress, Mara Marini. You've seen Mara on Parks and Rec. You've seen her in a bunch of other places. We're going to talk about all of that. Welcome to the program, Mara.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and thank you for coming on. I know that many people love your character on Parks and Rec. Um, Parks and Rec is on my list. I know the show. I know a ton of people on it. I know I'm going to like it, and I haven't pulled the trigger yet because I know that once I start watching, I'm not going to be able to stop. And because of my own show, because of all the other responsibilities, I know that I may not have enough time to properly dedicate to Parks and Rec. So I'm waiting until I have an opening where I can actually fit it in because I know I'll binge it.
Yes, treat yourself. Just watch, you can just watch an episode a night or something as you're going to sleep.
Yeah, that's not going to work for me. I know myself all too well. I just know some of the shows that came out. Like I was, The Boys was the last one that I finished binging. I make a pact with myself that I will only watch one episode per day, and it never works.
It's so hard. I know.
Because it's too good, and I'm interested in what happens next, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, it's only a few episodes left. I have to finish. I have to see what's happening, and then you get stuck, and that's why I still haven't watched Lost. I have not watched Sopranos. I have not watched what is the show? I have not watched Breaking Bad. I know I'm gonna get stuck for a couple of months, and I can't allow myself to do that right now.
Oh, I get it. I get it. I've binged so much during this quarantine. So,
What are you binging?
oh my gosh, what have I not binged? Well, some trashy TV that I would be embarrassed to tell you what it is, but mostly, I mean, just there's been so many great shows coming out. I mean, honestly, I always have Golden Girls on Hulu just on because
Yeah.
it brings me so much joy. So I've probably seen that like 8,000 times. But new series, I'm so bad with this because literally I've watched so much and I just forget it as soon as I watch it. Uh, but this isn't a series, but I just watched My Teacher the Octopus. Have you seen that on Netflix?
I have not.
It is so good. You must watch it. It is so wonderful. It's a documentary, but it's just so amazing. And I didn't know how smart octopus were. I will never eat an octopus again. It was amazing.
So no more calamari for you. That's it.
No, I'm no more. Even though that's squid, but they're still really smart too. Squid are really
Hmm.
smart. So I don't know.
Okay, fine. Well, I was just thinking that in terms of smart animals, I don't think I eat any of the smart animals, or there's definitely dolphin and other things that come to mind that I've never eaten, and I'm not planning on ever doing that. So, okay, yeah.
It's just
Um,
that it's a great documentary. Um,
have you watched Emily in Paris? I know that my wife and I just absorbed that
I
one.
just started it. I literally just saw the first episode, and then I switched to The Boys because I wanted to watch The Boys. But it's really cute. I'll definitely go back to it.
Yeah, it's unexpected, and I've heard from some people. A lot of people love it. I loved it. So did my wife.
Oh,
I've heard from some people that it's predictable. I haven't found it to be predictable. The overall arc, you have an idea of where they're going, but you do that pretty much in most films and shows.
yeah,
And there were plenty of moments that I did not expect, so I enjoyed it.
that's great. Yeah, I've heard some good things. I have friends that watched it and really enjoyed it, so it's on my list.
And the boys, you said you switched. How are you enjoying the boys?
So yeah, I saw the first season, and now I'm in the second episode of the second season, and it's good. It's definitely an interesting show. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Uh, I had a chance to interview one of the actors who was on both first and second season. His name is Mishka Thibaut Thibaut. Sorry, Mishka, if you're watching, my apologies. Mishka Thibaut. He's Shockwave. So if you remember Shockwave and the race between A Train and Shockwave, that's Mishka. He's
Yeah,
also Canadian. He's in Toronto.
my people.
Yep. I think the whole show was shot in Toronto.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, lots of Canadian actors on that one as well.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I'd love it even more if you hired me, but I love that. I love seeing Canadians work.
Yeah, listen, I think third of the actors that I've interviewed on the show have been Canadians. So I've noticed during this time, and it's been 5 months. Actually, today is the 5 month anniversary of my first show. So welcome. Um, and I've noticed. I was speaking to a wonderful actress from Vancouver. Oh my goodness, her name escapes me at the moment. Magda Apanovich. Uh, and I was speaking to Magda, and then I realized midstream that I said sorry. Now I have to be careful. I said sorry with the Canadian accent. I said sorry. I'm like, wait a second. I even heard it myself as I was speaking. So now when people, I've had people tell me generally that they think I'm from Canada, and now more and more, just because I speak to so many Canadian actors, I'm starting to get into the point where some of the words and the way that I pronounce them are sounding Canadian.
Rubbing off on you.
I love Canada.
It's great.
It,
I love Canada so much. I can't do those winters again. That took the life out of me. I'm from Winnipeg, which is like right in the middle. So being from Chicago, you know the cold, but Winnipeg's even worse. Like
yeah,
we broke the record, -52. Colder, officially colder than the planet Mars. That's disgusting.
it
No one
is.
can live like that.
Yeah, yeah, and there's some. I think there's some shows that are shot there, or some projects that are shot there. And I was talking, if I'm not mistaken, I was talking to one of my friends who's in Toronto, and he was offered a project there, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not sure I want to go there when the weather is starting to get colder
It's
to shoot
hard.
anything." Yeah.
It's intense. I have PTSD from those winters, man. It's rough. Now
So
I
now,
love it like 90 degrees in my house at all times.
so
So bad.
you're in LA now, or is that where you are?
Yes.
Okay. And
I still go back to Canada, but like I live in LA now. So,
how long have you been in LA?
oh gosh, I came out when I was 18 so I went to York University for their theater program. And then from there, when I was 17, and then when I was 18, I came out for the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And that was a 3-year program and then stayed for work. So I've been here a minute.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you went back and you did Schitt's Creek, which was shot in Canada, you went to Canada to shoot, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was really fun. I love Toronto. Toronto in the summer is just one of my favorite places. It's so fun and
Yeah,
just a great energy, and that was such a fun show to work on as well. So it was fun.
it, it is. It's again, I've seen you there, and like I've seen you in some other places, but Schitt's Creek again was one of those shows that many people didn't know about outside of Canada, and then kind of it started, catching some things on streaming and on pop, and then all of a sudden it blew up, and it deservedly so. I love that show. I got my daughter hooked on it. So
Oh,
I started watching it first, and then I kind of told everybody to watch it immediately.
that's great. Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah.
So
What
smart.
was,
Such great writing.
what was your experience like, and how did you? Well, we'll get to the experience in a second, but how did you get on the show? Was it just a regular audition, or
So
how did that come
funny.
about?
I had quite a few callbacks for the role of the mayor's wife on the show.
Wow.
And ultimately, they said at the time, like I looked a little too young to play his wife, the other woman is amazing too. I'm sure there are other reasons, but that's just you only get little tidbits that you hear
Yeah.
as talent as feedback. But because of that, they actually didn't have me audition for the role at all. They just kind of gave it to me because I'd already come in quite a bit for the other role.
Yeah.
And then it was intended to come back, but didn't end up making it in the storyline. But it was such a fun time. I knew Anne, who plays the sister. She actually stayed with us in LA when she before she got Schitt's Creek, way before.
Nice.
She was friends with my roommate at the time, so we all have a bunch of mutual friends. And then my friend lived with Dan Levy, and so I would see him a lot prior to the show as well.
Yep.
So, and then one of my best friends writing on the show initially. Like, it's just such a small world. It's so funny, especially the Canadian kind of teams, which is
Yeah,
awesome. And yeah, that's how that came to be.
that's nice. Yeah, the actress whose name escapes me at the moment, who played Mayor's wife, is wonderful. Just such a great quality of being um, being emotionally present and humorous and very touching and deep all at the same time. I really enjoyed her performance.
Yeah, no, she's great. Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone on the show does a great job. They
I
did.
know.
Yeah.
And they swept the Emmys. I couldn't believe it. It was, again,
No,
deserved, but that was very cool.
totally. That's great.
So when you got on set and you saw some of your friends and colleagues, what was the most interesting part of that experience of just shooting that scene?
Um, it was just everyone is so it was just such a fun time. A lot of that particular episode of my stuff was on a green screen, and it was like a long monologue. And I remember they thought, because it was very, very long, and I came in and I memorized it all, and everyone, Eugene Levy, everyone came up and did a standing ovation, clapping after. They're like, we thought we'd have to cut after every line. We didn't think you'd memorize the whole thing. It's like,
Oh,
yes, you're welcome. That was really cute. Everyone was just so lovely. I mean, Catherine O'Hara is so amazing. I didn't get a scene with her because she was just watching me through the TV, but we got to do the table read together, and just the chemistry, and everyone's just so funny. Just a great experience.
very cool. And how did that compare to your Parks and Rec? You've been on 6 episodes of Parks and Rec, so certainly
Yeah.
spent quite a bit more time there. But in terms of, and I imagine it was quite a bigger set, with more people. But how
Yeah.
did that compare energy-wise? Because comedy.
Yeah.
What was the similarity
It's
and
hard to say because I got to come back so much with Parks and Rec, so I did get to know the experience a lot more, and in huge part to Amy Poehler. Like, she just makes it so fun. She is so generous. She's so kind, and that just permeates from the top down. Like, everyone is so happy to be there, from makeup to wardrobe, the writers. Like, you feel everyone knows they're lucky to be there and is happy to be there, that it just nothing has really compared to that feeling for me, because it's just such a great thing to be a part of. Everyone was so kind. I was a recurring guest star, and I got to come back, and Chris Pratt, like Aziz, everyone's so friendly and welcoming you back. Jim O'Hare, like, everyone's so nice that it just made it such a sparkly, magical, fun experience. Like, I was just meant to do the one episode on that, and when the initial audition was just all ethnicities, all hair color, like just porn star, just guest
Mhm.
star.
Yeah.
And I booked it, and when I came in, I remember the first take. Like, I was so nervous. I'm sitting beside Amy Poehler. It's my first take, and after my first take, she turns to me and she goes, "You're really funny." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." And she's the one who wrote me back into the next episode, which she wrote and directed, which was the debate episode, which also won an Emmy. And then from there, the joke was, we looked similarly, and they kind of went with this running joke, and which was so much fun.
Yeah, because again, you never know how things are going to work out, and once you get on set, it's like in sports, right? Get to the playoffs, and then anything can happen.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, very, very cool. How much improv was there on that set? Because again, everybody kind of comes through an improv background. I imagine there was an opportunity for you to play as well.
Yeah, it's so fun. Actually, you never know what's going to make it like to the actual episode, because you have this amazing script, which is already so funny, and you do a bunch of takes with that, and then they'll do a fun run where you get to improv, and then they'll have another one where the writers will throw suggestions out at you. So it's so much fun, and they really allow you to embody the character and kind of go with it, which not certainly not every show does, which is a real treat. So that was really fun. And yeah, you never know, like, is the improv going to make it in? Is the script going to make it in? Like, what's going to be the final cut? So it's fun to kind of see what comes together.
Very cool. And in terms of kind of your improv training, have you? I haven't seen. I guess I didn't look at your resume close enough. Have you had improv training before?
Yeah. I mean, I've been in class since I was a kid back in Canada, and definitely there was improv there. But out here, at the academy, we had improv. I did a bit of Groundlings. I did a bit of Second City. I did a bit of UCB. So kind of, just getting all your tools, and I find it very fun. I don't know if I could like be on a team, like make it like a living, but I enjoy it so much. And definitely UCB especially really helps with like your writing and just developing, and it's very cerebral, which I really enjoyed. So yeah.
And have you found that again, when you have training as a writer, and comedy has its own, its own rhythms and its own kind of symphony to it. When you're doing the improv, have you found that that type of thinking kind of gets in the way of you being fully present? Because that's what I found.
That,
I found that me as a writer, when I would hear the other person say something, I immediately, it's fine. Yeah. You can show. Is that a dog or? Hey, hello, hello.
sorry, when she hears stuff at the door, I can't calm her down. So hopefully she'll
You.
be quiet.
What's her name?
Coconut.
Coconut. Hello, Coconut. Cute.
Thank you.
So yeah, I found kind of, I would hear something and then my brain immediately goes, oh, like, oh, okay, I know where to go with this. I'm going to say this, and then there's going to be a setup, and there's a hook, and there's a punchline. I'm good. And then I had to train myself to throw all of that away and just be fully present and, say the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah. Yeah. It is scary, but it definitely, that muscle, like you do learn so much from doing it. Um, but yeah, no, I found that challenging too, for sure, because I'm such a planner, like I love to, as far as getting ready for a role and learning the lines and everything. So improv definitely takes me out of that, which I think is a good thing, kind of like breaking up of that box, just so you have those tools for when you do get to do improv, like on Parks and Rec or something fun. So
Yeah. So you mentioned that you're a planner and you're very analytical. What's your process as you're getting ready for that role?
yeah, so you know it for me, I like to, so at the academy we had this one amazing teacher, and she's just like, you write your backstory, you fill in all the blanks of this character. And when you're on a project that like allows you the time to kind of develop those things, especially theater and stuff like that, where you can really, TV obviously moves a bit faster, so you do everything you can to do those same things. But I forgot, I've done so much theater as well, like the luxury of a 6-week rehearsal. Oh my gosh, because you certainly don't get that in TV. But yeah, so I like to, I write a lot. I need to visually see that. I need to visually see me writing the lines in my writing. That's really important to me. And then it's a matter of also like, okay, well, why am I saying this? Why am I saying this? Coming from, having those um, important, I'm blanking on the word right now. Those important, not reasons, but the inspiration of those. That's not also
Yeah.
the word I'm looking for, but you know what I'm saying. The inspiration of the lines, and then as far as if it's a lot of dialogue and stuff. Once I have the uh, you know, why I'm saying it, the intention. That's what I was looking for. Sorry, the intention behind the lines. Then I will record the other lines too, just to like, so I can be saying it, and like, why am I saying it? I find I often, especially on projects that move really fast, I'm able to find nuances through kind of doing that myself, because I don't get the luxury of rehearsing with another person, because it's kind of just few takes and you're out sort of thing. So yeah, I would say that's my process. I also, try to research everything, like the name of the character, where they're from, what they do, and kind of go into a deep dive there, because I think the more information you have, you never know how it's going to play out.
Yeah.
and
Because again, our job is to react. So the more you know about the character, the more you have a chance to embody them, the more you'll be affected by something that somebody throws at you that is because of something else that has nothing to do with the script, but it's a part of the character's past that you can then be triggered by or affected in a positive or negative way by.
absolutely. And it's that whole thing of just gathering all the information, doing all the research, learning all the stuff, and then once you're there, throwing it all away and seeing what you can. It's that sort of concept, which is hard sometimes, but
And I like how again you're kind of allowing yourself to have the rehearsal time just by recording and using that as the back and forth and the ability to not just memorize the material but also have that repetition because we on screen you really almost never get rehearsal time and it's shot out of sequence and it's all sorts of things and you have to do take after take on TV, 2 to 5 takes and then move on because they have other things to do. But it's good that you're allowing yourself that rehearsal time. Otherwise, it's really difficult. I found that some actors that I speak to, they're saying that really kind of their best take is their take 3, maybe 4, and sometimes you don't get that. So you really kind of have to come in ready and be prepared to go because you may only get 2 takes and that's it.
hmm yeah, I've been called the one take wonder, which I love because
Yep.
usually my first take is the best take for some reason in my experience. Not
Mhm.
always, but most of the time, which is funny. And I think it's just kind of a thing like trust your intuition, just go with it. Don't think too much. You've done the work, just go. But everyone's different. Yeah, I have a lot of friends that they need not that I don't need the warm up. I don't mean it like I'm great or anything. I just mean I happen to do a little better, I think, when the pressure's on that first one. I don't know why. Um, which also, the whole thing with like the self tapes and stuff now too, I feel like everyone has their strengths in different areas. Like some of my friends just love doing self tapes. I do not like it because I feel like I do really well in a room. I need to be there physically. And also, one of my strengths is coming in with my choices and then if they want it seen another way, I'm really able to flip, like turn on a dime sort of thing and do it a different way. But on a self tape, you don't get that opportunity, It's so, and also you're playing director and editor. And I don't know, am I choosing the take that they would choose, or am I choosing the take because I'm being vain and I think I look better? It's hard to, I find it more challenging. I'd much rather, even though you spend more time because you're driving to the audition and whatever it is. I know with COVID, obviously, but I'd rather even a Zoom audition than a self tape.
Yeah, I certainly understand that. And even with the Zoom audition, my issue is, I want to look into the eyes. I want to see what's happening. I want to be affected by it because that allows me to really get connected. And if I'm just in camera or I'm a little off camera, I'm still not focusing on you. You're in my periphery. So I haven't figured out a really great way of doing that. If you know of one, please share with me in the audience.
Yeah, it's just it's a different thing. It's a different way of doing things, and I just find it a little more challenging. I'd rather be in the room
Yeah,
one day.
absolutely. Well, it's changing, but I hear more and more that it's going to be a lot more self tapes regardless of COVID. There's going to be a lot more Zoom regardless of COVID. It's just because things are changing. So there's going to be a lot less in the room. It's it's an evolving world. We have to go with it.
Oh,
And
yeah. I mean, I noticed just this last year prior to COVID how many more self tapes in L because usually all my self tapes were for New York and Toronto and Vancouver. Now
yeah.
I'm doing self tapes for LA. Like that
Mm.
didn't happen before. And then I think with COVID now they're saying, oh, they don't have to spend the money to rent a space. They can there's a lot of efficiencies. They don't
Yeah.
the environment, you don't have to drive. And so I do think like the first round, there's really going to be self tapes and Zooms going forward.
Likely, yeah, and that's again being in a secondary market in Chicago. It's actually a little better because then we can send out self tapes too.
Yeah, that's
And
for you guys for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
to LA, to New York, and then now everything is different. But we'll see once that clears up. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
So what made you fall in love with acting? What was your that moment when you realized that, yep, this is mine?
So, great question. I was 4 years old and I was watching Marilyn Monroe on television. My mom
In
had some old movie on. I don't even remember what it was. I think it
Okay.
was 7 Year Itch. And I just knew I wanted that. I wanted, where did she live? Los Angeles. Okay. What is this acting? This is what I want. And it literally never wavered from 4 on. And then when I was 6, I just started begging my parents to move to Los Angeles. And my mom's a teacher, my dad's a pilot. They're like, what are you talking about? No. And then when I was 6, I begged my mom to put me in acting class. And she's like, I don't even know what that is. So she had a big Shakespeare book, and I just started memorizing out of there. And so she's like, okay, let me see what to do. And there was this, the Manitoba Theater for Young People was the first one. And so then there was another theater exchange. And so I got to go to these different acting classes. And then, as we got older, there was drama in school that was an elective, and doing school plays and doing plays around the city. And I just fell more in love and more in love and more in love. And every single thing I did, like all my yearbook quotes in school were, as soon as I'm done with school, I'm going to LA. Like everything was climbing up that mountain, getting that goal.
Mhm.
So it's all I've ever wanted to do. I just sort of felt like, oh, this is what my soul was put on earth to do, sort of feeling.
Yeah.
So
And how did you find that climb and that experience? Because LA is a very interesting place, and there are some things that work, and mostly they don't. How have you found that throughout your career progressing, you were able to stay on track?
yeah, so I mean, it's a funny thing. It's everyone's path is so different. There is
Right.
no formula. When I have kids ask like, what do I need to do? And I just, attack the industry from any way you can, whether that be, hopefully, definitely take classes. I would say that's number one. And then now, you're so lucky. I didn't have all of the social media and the YouTubes and stuff to showcase myself, and you have that opportunity now. Create, write, do whatever you can to fulfill yourself and kind of get out there. And um, because it's just changed so much. I remember after I left the academy, I was just like, okay, well, got to get an agent, and no one wanted me. So just like spending so much money writing personalized letters with my headshots to these agents day after day, and doing these really terrible straight to video horror films that were the only things I could seem to book. And it was a hustle. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot of, I did a lot of theater. Like, I was still being fulfilled. I was still getting to do what I loved, which was the most important thing to me.
Mhm.
But kind of the thought of like, oh, I'm gonna get to LA and just make it big was not that that was ever really exactly my thought process. Like, I always just was like, I just want to do this thing.
Right.
um but it's a lot. It can be a big hustle. Yes, you can be the one, you can win the lottery and get off the airplane and they're like, we want you in this.
Yeah.
But that's very unlikely. It's going to be a lot of work. And over the years, seeing friends leave where it's too much, and I totally get it. But when there's nothing else you could even imagine doing that fulfills you like that, there's no other options.
Yeah, and side hustle as well. How are you able to supplement from the financial perspective? Because being a working actress is not an easy gig unless you're a series regular.
Yeah, yeah. So up until I would say, like 5 years ago, I had 1,000 different side hustles. I was just constantly running
Mhm.
from thing to thing. Um, I've been, blessed in the last little bit that with projects I've done and some of the writing and residual checks and stuff. But you're always like, I'm not at the point where like I'm like in the clear by any means. Like, I'm like, I better book something soon, or I don't know, because with quarantine and everything, no one was planning for any of this. So with that, you're just sort of like, okay, well, what would I, what could I do? And um but hopefully I book something soon, knock on wood. Savings are running out. But at the same time, I'm writing a lot. I have a bunch of different writing partners. We're doing Zoom writing sessions that has taken up a lot of my quarantine, which I love. At least I feel like I'm being productive. I also have my own things that I'm working on, and the few, I have a great voiceover agent, so that's actually been booming animation. So I have been auditioning a lot for voiceovers, which has been so fun. The cartoons are so fun. So just hustling.
Yeah, because there's not one thing, right? Nobody is really just an actor anymore. You have to do voiceovers, you have to do commercials, you have to do, sometimes trade shows and all sorts of things just to continue pursuing that dream. Because you've mentioned classes, and everybody in LA, what I found, Chicago is a little different, but in LA, if you're not constantly training, you're looked down upon. And constant training means hundreds of dollars every month that you have to shell out. And for those people who are not familiar with what co-stars make, you do 1 or 2 co-stars a month, maybe. You're basically not sure that you have enough to pay for rent, for everything else, and to cover your training. So it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. So have you found, again, you said that you're writing a lot, you're working on some of your own projects. Are you creating work that you're casting yourself in, or are you creating work? Okay.
I think everything but one project is stuff for me to be in front of the camera for, because I enjoy writing, and knock on what I think I'm good at it, but I love acting. So that supplements that, and at least I'm being creatively fulfilled, through that channel as well. But I really, really enjoy acting's my favorite. And then writing I do love, but acting a little more.
Right. So going back to the side hustles for a second, I always like hearing what was the kind of the weirdest, acting side hustle you've ever had. So Russell, I think the weirdest one so far has been Russell Hornsby, who was doing like singing Santa and all sorts of different things. I found that to be hilarious. So what was yours?
So many things. So there was one point where I did some trade shows. I did I was like a lifeguard at this what are those things with the slides, the water slides?
Yep.
I did oh my gosh, I didn't last long because I think I did one gig. But when the McDonald's, those big, this is when I was really young, those big, I was Grimace, and the outfit weighed more than me, and I was like, this is not for me. So that I did not last long. I was lawyers do this continuing legal education. I was a salesperson. Oh, I was a salesperson for the NRA. I didn't even know what the NRA was. For people to renew their licenses. I'm not into the NRA. I just made a lot of money in sales because I had a friendly voice and I would put on a Southern accent and everyone signed up with me. Oh gosh, which is terrible. I'm sad that I did that now, but I didn't know at the time. I was just like, oh, money. Okay, I need it. Oh God, I know I've done other like strange things. Nothing like creepy, but just like weird. Oh God, I did the door at nightclubs. This was before. Oh yeah, I did the door at nightclubs, which was awful because I had to be like a bulldog, and I'm not a bulldog, so I didn't do really well there. Yeah, I feel like there's more, but I'm forgetting. I've pushed it away from because it was so traumatic.
Wow, that's I'm imagining you being the person responsible for making sure that somebody does not get into the nightclub. That's
hard for me. I felt so bad, and then I would have the promoters come out and like, you can't let this person in. They're not dressed appropriately, and I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, it's making me hate humans. You guys are being so mean. It was hard.
Things that you can potentially use in your character study later on.
Later on, for sure.
Or listen, it's there's some, I'm sure there's some interesting writing ideas for some characters that can come out of those.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got some on those. Yeah.
So, what again? Is there a quote or some words that you live by?
Hmm. I don't know about live by, but one of my teachers at the academy was always like, say what you mean what you say. And I feel
Mhm.
like I'm always thinking of that when I'm writing out, like, especially intentions for lines, like for the work and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, which I find interesting. And then, so when I was 17, I met Vin Diesel in Toronto. He was shooting out there. And when I came to LA, he was like the only person I knew. And I want to say like mentored me, but like he taught me a lot of interesting things. And
Nice.
one was, you know what you like, know how people see you, know what you play. Like he's classically trained, but he's like, I look like this, I sound like this.
Yep.
I can, once I've broken through that door, can play other things, but this is how I'm going to get in the door. Like Seth Green, who he was working with, he's like, he looks like this, he sounds like this, that's how he's going to get in. And eventually, if he makes, he obviously they both made it, but they can, you know,
Yeah.
but no, because a lot of actors think, oh, I can just do everything. And yeah, okay, on stage, like on theater, maybe you can, but for the camera, people see you as one thing, not one thing per se, but a
Mhm.
type, and try to, I don't want to say sell your soul, like, and just, do that, but know what you can do well,
Mhm.
and really hone that in. And then hopefully you get to play juicier stuff later on or whatever.
Yeah.
So I found that really helped me kind of navigate, especially the beginning of things, was like a smart bit of information.
I think Gerald Webb, when I was talking to him, said, "Yeah, you understand your type because that's what you keep getting called for. Accept that that's your type and make sure that you maximize it. Own the box, and then you can, come out and do other things on top of that. But it's in Gerald's case, they saw him as the cop and the FBI agent, and that's what he was playing. Okay, great. I'll start here and then I'll continue climbing from there.
Yeah,
So."
I this wonderful class out here where one of the first things they had us do is what you each at one at a time, one person would leave the room and the teacher would ask you, okay, what could you see that person playing? What do you see them as? And would say, okay, what celebrities do they kind of remind you of? And it sounds like such a trite exercise, but everyone learned so much, like what people saw them as, just that first impression.
Mhm.
And the likening to the celebrity kind of gave them an idea of maybe some things they would be going out for. And it was very informative.
Yeah. So what have you found that is your type or how the industry sees you?
Well, especially when I was platinum, it was a little more of like, dumb blonde stripper with a heart of gold. I could have gone out for so many stripper porn roles, which I loved. I thought it was fun, especially, Brandy Max is so close to my heart. But that's the character name on Parks and Rec, by the way, for anyone that's know.
Yep. That much
And
I know. Yeah.
and so, and then as I've gone a little more natural, it's still the sexy, funny sort of area, which I still love. I still embrace that too. I'd love to, since I am classically trained as well, break out a little bit and enjoy some other roles, which I have here and there, which has been really fun. But I love comedy. So for me, it's such a treat. I get likened a lot to a young Betty White, which has been really wonderful because she's my
Great.
idol. I
Yeah.
get young Dolly Parton. I get young Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I see
yeah,
that.
it's been which I love all of that. I'll take all of that. Thank you. So
Yeah.
fun.
Do you know the first thing that came to mind kind of as I was looking at you, and it's different hair color, but there's just something in the energy that I find that's similar. The her name escapes me right now. I don't know what's with the names at the moment, but the actress who played the main role in my big fat Greek wedding.
Oh, Mia Bardalos.
Yes.
She's
So
Canada too. Yeah.
yeah,
I should we go to the same theater thing together? So I see she's wonderful.
She's hilarious, and I love I love the work that she's done, and there's something there. So that was my first impression, kind of like it's
Aw.
interesting. I didn't think about that. So yeah.
Oh, well, that's a compliment. She's amazing. I also get Kristen Chenoweth a lot as well, but all those, I mean, are
Mhm.
amazing people. So I'm very thankful that
Yeah,
they.
these are all great comps. So I would certainly enjoy them and be thankful that you're likened to them. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's people are worried about types, and the more I talk to actors, the less I even think about it. It's like, okay, well, that's how you see me. Sure, let's do it.
Yeah, and again, not to say you can't do other things, but if you keep hearing the same thing over and over again, it's worth exploring that
Right.
avenue, the way in. It's
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't do too much about your looks. You can, yeah, maybe lose, gain weight, for
Mhm.
roles and stuff, but you kind of have the face you have. So it's like, well, how can I capitalize on this and then, venture into other things I want to do. So
Yeah. So we're playing with types. What do you see me at? Because this is the first time we've spoken. So
oh,
if I were
so
to
rude.
get out of the room, what type? Who do I remind you of in terms of
Oh, as
celebrity?
like a scientist,
Of
uh,
the dentist?
a scientist
A
or
scientist. Okay. Yeah.
science.
Dentist. Yeah.
I could see a teacher.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah, definitely something cerebral and professional, especially with the glasses and the way you're presented right now. I would definitely say, young dad. Yeah, is that on point?
Yeah. I always kind of put myself into the category of the goofy uncle.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, I could totally see that. I love that. That's fun.
it's more of my personality.
Yeah.
And then I get the more professional types, and I get the lawyer, doctor, type of rep. And then some people kind of look at me and saying, there's some there's something dark, right? So it looks like a friendly neighbor, but this is the kind of guy that's probably going to kill you at the end. So that's
Ooh, okay.
that's what I get.
Yeah,
Those
there's
those
that too.
Yeah, those are interesting. I'm like, that's weird, but okay, sure. Let's do it.
I have a friend in Chicago you actually remind me of. He works quite a bit as well, but you guys have a really similar type, and he has that sort of thing too, where he's really friendly and really sweet, but there's something behind the eyes. You're like, I could see you playing like a villain or something. So that's great. It's a good quality.
Yeah. What's your friend's name? Maybe I know.
Cyrus Alexander.
I don't think I ran into him, but I'll write that down. I'm gonna look it
Yeah,
up.
he's sweet.
Okay. Perfect. So now I'm gonna check out the agent that he's with, and if the
Oh,
agent and if I apply to that same agent and they already told me that we have somebody in your type, I'll know why.
you'll know why. That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Small.
that's so a few more questions for you. If you were to define yourself, right? We already know that you're more of an actor than a writer, but if you had to describe yourself in 3 words, what would those words be?
Um, Funny,
Hmm.
bubbly,
Yeah,
positive.
those old match as far as my perception. So that's good.
What are your words?
What are my words? My words are inspirational.
Ooh.
Um, I want to say quirky, but I'm not sure if I believe that myself.
Okay.
So inspirational for sure. Um, Fatherly. So there is that, paternal, because I'm a really caring person, and I want to help, and I get into that mode a lot
Yeah.
of I just want to take care of people.
Oh, that's sweet.
Um, yeah, and the third is, probably people are going to describe me as driven because they see all the things that I do on a daily basis. So, I get that a lot of like, I can't believe you're doing this and this and this and this and this. So,
Yeah.
I'm driven. I think would be a good one as well. So,
I want to use driven as one of mine too, because I feel like I'm very, that's kind of my whole life. I'm such a Capricorn. I don't know if you know anything about astrology, but it's all like
a little, yeah.
up the mountain, the sea goat, always climbing.
Mhm.
So it's definitely a big part of me as well. But
And finally, the last question for you. If you had a chance to go and talk to the young you who's about to move to LA, and you were able to give one piece of acting advice, what would that be?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I think it's, be open, which I think I was, but don't, say yes to everything that feels safe, which I think I did. I had a lot of guardian angels working overtime because the things I got myself into, I should not be alive right now.
Thank God.
I think, and just, I think a big one, which I probably could have done more, is stay true to yourself. I think there was a period of time where, I just wanted to work, just like me, let me work. And this one agent in particular, she's like, well, I came in and had long blonde hair, and she said, you're not pretty enough for like model stuff, and you're not like quirky enough for the funny stuff, which is what you would probably go out on. So I need you to cut your hair to here and dye it dark. And I did it. She didn't send me out on one audition. I was so depressed because I didn't feel like me. Like, people look amazing in that haircut. I did not. It didn't feel like me. I went against my intuition. I listened completely to someone else. And I think it would just be trust in yourself. There was a lot of like, I was so obsessed with trying to be as like skinny as like the girls that I saw or whatever that was. And just, there's only one you. Just be you. And if I could have settled into that more, I think that would have been my big advice to younger me.
You're making me rewrite the name of the episode. Initially, it was going to be Trust in Yourself, and then it became Just Be You.
Oh, I love it. Yay.
So it'll be Just Be You.
I love that. That's really nice.
Well, thank you so much, Mara, for coming on. I really enjoyed our chat. Best of luck to you with all the stuff that you're writing for yourself. And once COVID ends, knock on wood, or at least we return to some semblance of normal. I hope those roles start falling in.
Thank you. Same to you. And if anyone wants to follow me, I'm at Popgloss on everything. POPGLOSS. And
Absolutely.
thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.
Yeah, right below. Absolutely. We're going to be posting that. So please go open the descriptions and follow Mara everywhere. Perfect. Sure. And yeah, thanks to everybody for tuning in into another episode of The Love of Acting, where, again, we kind of get an opportunity to do what we love doing, which is talking to people in the industry and asking them questions and seeing what life is truly like in LA and all over the world for actors out there. So I hope you enjoyed. Please go and follow Mara everywhere, and we'll talk to you soon again. Thank you.
Thank you.